I always hate framing equality through having the same as someone else.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg was, I think, genius in starting this women's equality movement from the men's perspective.
Conversations that would have had me laughed out of the room, 5 or 6 years ago are now being taken seriously.
The change fills me with hope and it's great, but it's not complete, it's not done.
The Women's Equality Day to me makes me, it makes me inhale deeply and kind of hold it, because in that inhale, right, there's pride, there's angst, there's a bit of anger.
It just seems so fundamentally easy to do, just to pay people what they're worth, to allow people to have access to things that they should have access to, and gender shouldn't be a part of it.
You hope that the playing field is just level, right? And we're all just players on the same team.
Recognizing that women have a lot of things to offer to society, and recognizing that education and educating women is important is one of the biggest changes that I've seen.
Kind of seeing the evolution of women and mothers, especially in the workplace. Although to some people it might look like there's so much success because there's a lot of working moms. It's like, but those moms are often hurting and sacrificing themselves and their health.
It just means the world to somebody like me, who is typically sitting at a long table full of men, in an industry which sells to women, and yet for the longest time did not promote females into leadership positions.
You kind of reflect on how far our society has come since, the beginning of women's suffrage and voting rights, and just the societal ideals of being a woman and a housemaker and all of those things.
I think over my career, I've seen a really big shift in not only women's equality as an overall movement, but also the women that have mentored me.
There's been a great deal of work done, but there's a tremendous amount of work still ahead.
Equal pay. That's a black and white one. There's obviously a massive discrepancy in wages at all levels, whether we're talking about C-level executives or whether we're talking about entry-level jobs or even jobs that don't require a college degree.
Women are still underrepresented in STEM careers. We're still underrepresented in engineering, for example, or in medical careers. And that has very serious repercussions for women's health, for example.
Just in general, really promoting and coming up with better solutions for life-work balance. And so, it's obviously for men as well, but I know a lot of women take so much on and do that second shifts and, really their own mental and physical health, put that aside to do things for work and for other people.
Still kind of within the power dynamic of companies, it tends to be, leadership is the male-dominated space.
Want to make sure that when we talk about women and females, we do include the trans group, because I think that sometimes we tend to exclude them.
Getting to the point where maybe we're celebrating people and not women, and letting everybody be measured by the same measuring stick as far as success. I mean, to me, that's a win.
It's not that, I think a lot of folks think that it means that we want something that somebody else has. And it's not it. We want it to just stand up there with. And at the same time, we want them to participate in what has been traditionally female roles.
Because, depending on where you're working and the industry and the environment that you're in, you may really have to advocate for yourself and use your voice to make yourself heard. And the culture and other people there may not value you, and so you have to know your worth and make sure that you have the confidence to approach your job with all of the energy and talent that you have.
I did grow up around like online bullying and the objectifying of women on social media and how they're treated and all of those things. And so it's hard to, be behind an industry that grew on those things. But it's also like a proud moment for me that I can help change that.
I think the most important part that digital media is going to play in any equality movement is access, is being able to tell stories and make this important issue relatable.
Lean into your passions, find what you're passionate about, and other things will fall into place. And stop putting pressures on yourself to have to do it all at once, or thinking that you have to do one thing and not the other, because you can do both, but they don't have to happen in any kind of linear type of path. And so, lean into what you're passionate about. And I think, a lot of kind of your path will unfold more meaningfully in front of you.
Rely on each other. We are a community. There is, I think, for most of us, this feeling of wanting to bring everybody along with you. So I think, just make some cold calls, reach out to colleagues, find people that you think in the community are doing the kind of things or leading in the ways that you want, and reach out to them. I think people will be really surprised how many women are more than happy to talk to help, to mentor another woman.
You have to take kind of an internal audit and assessment of your life, and both personally and professionally. So on the personal side, right? If you're a man and you're listening to this, I applaud you, right? Because you're interested and you want to know how you can be better. So take a look. How many women friends do you have? How many women do you recommend for a job at where you work? How many of them do you support when they're going up for a promotion? What are you doing to impact? How are you raising your daughters? Are you expecting her to be a cheerleader or a CEO?
I try to approach my feminism as being as intersectional as possible, and I feel like that's the path forward, is realizing that whatever privilege you have, you need to be using that to lift up others, while simultaneously trying to work on your own causes and gain more equality and access for yourself.